Howdy everybody, welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again. I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. But before we go ahead and get into that, I just want to remind everybody I am sponsoring a Napoleonic Total War 3 mod tournament. It's going to be a 4 versus 4 tournament with a first prize of $100. So if you are interested in that, or you would like to send me any replays, go ahead and send something to TheCastGamingChannel at gmail.com, or head to the description box below where you can find a link to my Discord and say hello in the Discord. Let us know you're interested in that, and we'll get you going. My email address can also be found in the description box below. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get into today's match. It's going to be a 4 versus 4 core battle, a historical battle today, actually, the Battle of Auerstedt. And it's going to be a Davos corps versus a bunch of Prussian corps today. So I have to start this in slow motion. I've tried this a couple times, and unfortunately the action just kicks off a bit too soon. You can see here that the first Davos corps starts way out in front. Prussia's over here. What I have actually played this battle before, and then what I did initially is, because of the ground right here, this is the highest elevation. I put my guns here. I split half of my army here. I split half my army on this other higher elevation. And the reason that I split my army in half is so that I could give time for reinforcing armies on the left and behind and on the right to come up and join all together so that we could make a push. Because Prussia does start in a kind of a triple stack here. One will probably most likely take the ridge, this high ground on the right side, which is extremely protected. Prussia also has these higher ridges throughout their side of the map, all the way across, which are better defensive positions. And I took the middle ground so that I could hold the higher ground once I split the armies, and then allow time for my allies to come up so we could push together. Unfortunately, this is not what this player is choosing to do. And there's a couple options. Pushing on the left side is viable for the Imperials because they can outflank this hill, get some great artillery and flanking fire on this hill. You'd have to come through the town. I don't think you can go through the river. You can push in the center because you have a little bit of protection from the forest here. It's going to be difficult for the coalition to hold this building if they're not in line. However, they can always fall back to this hill. And there's this second building right here. And I'm going through this a little fast, I know, but I don't have a lot of time to explain it today because of the way everything's popping off. And I just want to make sure that I get it for you guys. There's also this great defensive position for the coalition. They've got this hill here next to this house. And then all this open space on a higher elevation, which they could catch any flanking armies. If I was the coalition, I recommend stacking all your armies on this, probably on this. Have your far left flank be by this house on this elevation, and then have everything stretch out to the right side and hold this hill. I think that's going to be your best bet. You can, if you're keen to attack, you can try and go up this center section here on this hill and cut off this reinforcing army, or cut off this reinforcing army. Or make a push for this one. It depends on what you're interested in doing. So I'll go ahead. Now you guys got the overview. This battle was actually fought in 1806. It's going to be a Davos corps. He was severely outnumbered. I think he had about 25 or 26,000 men in his corps versus, I believe it's over 60,000 for the Prussians. So it'll be cool to see if we can recreate history here, although not exactly. I'm not sure they're going to let. I'm not sure the game's going to let Prussia reinforce with 3 times, or 2.5 or 3 times the amount of men that France is bringing. But I'll go ahead and speed this up here, get it back to normal speed. So it looks like this Imperial player, he's choosing to just start right up front. He's going to start. Get in a position to attack. You can see Prussia is massed right here. They're trying to get into line. They're probably going to link up. I think their initial idea was what I was talking about for the coalition, to to shift their armies to this right and center section, have this house be the far left flank, because it is a good defensive position. You can fall back across this area here, get back up on this hill, have some more infantry on this hill, and then any if France wants to attack, they might push themselves too far into this salient here. But it looks like Prussia already charged in its cav. It's got made this men on this gun unit route. France was able to countercharge here. Now Prussia's going back in for a countercharge with their cav. Some more countercharges coming off. French infantry are getting charged by some Prussian cav. And boy, oh boy, did I tell you right off the bat that this game was popping off. Look at this Prussian cav charge. Heavy cav right into some skirmishers behind some more line units. And this is why I wanted to divide my army at the very beginning. This is why I wanted to divide my army here. When I played this map, I had half of my army back here, half my army on the far side of here, because I didn't want something like this to happen. I did not want to get my overwhelmed like this player is having happen to him. Now Prussia could essentially cut him off from these reinforcing armies now that he's killed, or he's routed, a significant portion of his army, of the French player's army, with this artillery unit out of action. Maybe it's not gone because the men are in this square formation here, but they're essentially not part of the battle at this point. And now France is having to, it's going to have to retreat its infantry that it had up here. It needs to get these guys into line and into the fight. Needs to get this artillery battery repositioned. Had you started on this part of the hill, you'd have excellent fire from your artillery to shoot at the Prussian infantry. And this is just a really, really rough start. Prussia should be really proud of the way that they started things today. They took advantage of a misstep from this French player. And it looks like they're probably going to be able to take this house in the here. Looks like Grenadiers versus Grenadiers. Or if Prussia was already owned that house, they're going to be able to keep it. And now this French corps is pressured to come up to help its ally, because they're in danger of routing. You can see the Imperials are falling back. It's going to take a long time for this right flank and this center section to come up and support this Imperial player. And now Prussia is going to continue to push. Prussia, if he's going to push, he needs to be quick about it. Needs to be aggressive. I'd be charging. I'd be pushing up these cav right here. All these cav up here. And I'd be getting into this French cav right here, with some supporting units. I'd be taking this cav as well. Just all out assaulting this position with your cav, because you have the. It looks like you have the superiority as Prussia. You've got the superior position on this left flank. This is a really good move by Prussia. He's got some horse artillery on the flank, able to have the high ground, shoot against France here, get shots into their cav. France is highly disorganized. Prussia charged in some infantry against the French lines. Well done. Delaying the French retreat. Couple squares here to protect the retreat. There is Prussian units coming up. Maybe look like we're going to have a cav charge. I'm not sure about this cav charge. I think it might be a waste of men. Waste of a unit. I don't think they're going to get the Prussian line. Might have been just a delaying tactic. I'm sorry about the sound. I try to fix the bug. But unfortunately it's not happening. Now, Prussia needs to be careful. It doesn't overextend itself since French reinforcements are coming up. And France is still disorganized. He needs to get his units in the line as quickly as possible. Into a nice even line. Oh, good volley against the Prussian infantry. Holy cow, he took out 21 guys with one volley from this artillery. But he needs to be careful. He needs to limber this thing up. Needs to get it moving or get some cav to protect it. This is a mistake. Don't retreat it. Don't take your guys in melee. Push up your infantry or get your cav in there and limber it up and get it behind the lines. Now it's going to be useless. It's only going to be... If you have to fight anywhere else on the map, this artillery is going to be useless. And this is what I talk about all the time. You've got your artillery too far on the line. So now he's lost both artillery batteries. He's on the retreat. He's disorganized. Prussia needs support with this attack. They need support. Prussia also has an opportunity to charge these skirmishers if he so chooses. There's some more Prussian cav as backup. Now France is getting reinforcements from two other corps, so it's going to be 3 corps. Prussia is overextending itself right now, I think. Prussia needs to halt its advance. There's too many French reinforcements at the moment. But Prussia's going in for a cav charge against some disorganized units. Not real strong charges here. Prussia needs to stop pushing up its infantry. You could do some real devastating damage against this disorganized faction. And I'm not sure why Davout is still continuing to push behind. This is just kind of a mess. He should have got, if anything, he should put these guys in line and gone after this horse artillery. He could have come at Prussia at this angle. This is such a disorganized mess. I don't understand why this is happening. There we go. Looks like we've got the sound back. And the Imperials are going to have to do a way better job if they're going to have any hope of defeating Prussia. And Prussia, I think, realizes it's pushed up too far. Finally, France is getting organized. Now it's Prussia who seems to be becoming disorganized here. Prussia realizes it needs to make space for its artillery. Good job on them for realizing that. This is going to help Prussia right now. If I was Prussia, I'd be firing these guns, not necessarily at this infantry, but I'd be firing at the cav. There's these guys here, followed by, double layered stacked cav, followed by this artillery. This is a perfect line. This is a perfect position to aim your guns right here. Now, Prussia, you're gonna have to be constantly on the retreat here. You're gonna be overwhelmed by too much French infantry. So make sure that you're ready to fall back at a moment's notice. Finally, Prussia's having some reinforcements on this left side, but unfortunately, just as France is from the far right is coming up into this the right flank of their allies in the center of the map. And they're going to be hard-pressed. They're going to be hard-pressed if they're going to have to fight this army as well as this reinforcing corps. Prussia also has an opportunity to send this unit, this grenadier unit, forward into this unit right here, or into this unit. Reposition your units accordingly here. You can get the local superiority on this gap on either side, whichever place you want to attack. France, again, disorganized. I don't like to see this. You're just taking enfilading fire, and you can see the guys just flying. You're taking enfilading fire from this artillery. I'm not sure what the heck France is thinking. This battle is one huge mess. Now France is on the retreat again. Prussia, don't push up your infantry. Stop pushing. You've only got 3 guys here. You've only got 3 units. There's more infantry on the left side. Let your artillery do the work. Your artillery can do the heavy lifting. France is weak on this side at the moment. You can just sit back, let the artillery hit this cav, hit these units. You're overextending your infantry here. Prussia on this side is getting around the flank of, or at least endangering the flank of France. Followed by some more enveloping. It's nice to see a Prussian aggression on this. Caught France essentially with their pants down and made them extremely disorganized. There's just kind of volleys and fights all across this section of the map. Nice return volley from France there. We've got Prussian charge here against these guns. They were able to touch them at least, which means that France will not be able to move the guns any longer. French countercharges against Prussia. There's just so much going on, it's hard to capture it all. Cannonballs flying past the screen. Beautiful volley from Prussia. And the return from France. Now that this is a little bit more organized, it's become a lot more aesthetically pleasing. Prussia is getting around the flank, or trying to get around the flank of Russia, or I'm sorry, of France. Prussia's doing a great job of getting some horse artillery here to fire in. France make them retreat, kind of shrink the lines here. Looks like Prussia went on the cav charge for this right flank. It got caught up maybe in a square formation from France. Looks like the skirmishers are now gone. Maybe a French countercharge here. Not sure if they'll be able to catch Prussia there. Looks like both Prussia and France in the center here are starting to weaken. I'd be very careful if you're Prussia right here. You need to protect these guns. Get some cav over here. At very least to protect guns. Now on this left flank and on this center, you need to start retreating. You need to start falling back. You need to start linking up with your allies here, because if your plan is to wrap around France on this side, you're going to need artillery. You'll need to give time for your allies to hit France on this side. This is a bit of a mistake. Do not clump up your infantry units like this. Extend your lines to wrap around France, or you plug in the gaps. You plug in the gaps wherever you're needed. But France looks like it sees an opportunity in the center here, the same opportunity that I saw, and it's starting to push up its infantry units to threaten get rid of the artillery, threaten the flanks of Prussia. Now Prussia's going in for a heavy cav charge against some out of position French units. that are either unable to form square or it's too late. France is coming after Prussia with a countercharge. Prussia still has a whole nother heavy cav unit it's got over here. It could easily charge into the middle of France right here. Looks like Prussia just went out for a bayonet and cav charge on the line. I don't know how well that's going to work. Oh, massive artillery hit into Prussian cav. Said they lost about 15 men maybe with that volley. Another Prussian charge along the line. Prussia's pretty much defeated in the center here. They're just retreating. I think Prussia just pushed too much, too hard, too quickly. And that's why I was noting the defensive positions at the beginning of the map, because that's the ground you wanted to fight on. Now that you push France back, they have the elevated position. And they were able to link up with their allies, which is what you didn't want. Another desperate charge from some light cav. It's not going to be enough to break the French lines. Prussia's only option at this point is to retreat its armies, go back to the villages in the high ground, let France come attack them. This is a mistake. It needs to stop pushing. If anything, what you could have done is having a slow retreat with constantly falling back your artillery. You'd fall back your artillery, give France a few volleys until they get close, limber up, move back, unlimber, get some more volleys, and then rinse and repeat until you get back to the high ground or France can no longer pursue you. Looks like this Prussian attack is more than come to a screeching halt. It's a reversal as of right now. I'm getting some good hits on this French infantry. There's a cav charge here. I'm not sure if that's a good idea right now. I don't know what he's going for. And now he's just going to get countercharged by this faster moving cav. And it could potentially take out this artillery right here if he kept going. Now the Prussian cav is routing and there's nothing to stop it. Oh, but he managed to push up some heavy cav. Prussia managed to push up some heavy cav to protect its guns. Well done. And where the heck were these reinforcements? Were they on the left side? Prussia, you need to retreat your line on this left side. Fall back to the safety of your guns. There's more reinforcements are needed on this right flank and in the center if you're going to have any hope of surviving it. Oh, just some nasty artillery hits against this French unit. Be careful, Prussia. If this infantry unit falls, there's nothing to stop this infantry unit from charging into your guns. We got a French countercharge against this Prussian heavy cav. And Prussia, you need to fall back. You need to keep falling back. There's too many reinforcements coming up. Get back to the safety of the guns. Cross this river section here or fall back into the woods. That's going to be a better firing position for your infantry. France again going after some horse artillery. It looks like if the horse artillery wasn't killed, at least is not able to limber up anymore, and it's going to be stuck in position. And I actually think it's gone. That's unfortunate. Prussia still engaged in the line battle up here. France can just bayonet charge into you, hold you in place. Looks like that's exactly what he did. And now we've got these other French reinforcements coming up. Can easily get into the flank of this unit and rout Prussia. Be careful, Prussia, that you don't take fire from your own units. A needlessly wasted unit. These Prussian guns have been ripping holes in the lines. You can see that beautiful volley, men just flying through 3 or 4 units here. Excellent fire. Excellent flanking fire from this artillery position. And that's kind of what Prussia needed to do. It needed to keep its army intact. It needed to have its guns do, its artillery batteries do most of the work for it. I think Prussia just grew overconfident, overextended itself. Maybe another Hussar unit charging in the lines of France. May not have been the best charge. You can get hit by this square here. Prussian morale is very low for most of its units. Take a little zoom out here. We've got some potentially maybe it was returning units from Prussia on this left flank. Prussia should retreat. On this flank, he should not engage. Hopefully he's got some artillery left to protect him. Here you go. Continue to fall back. Prussia, get into the woods if you can, or cross. Use this artillery, if you have any, for enfilading fire against this Davout Corps right here, where the cursor's at. Get some excellent fire on them. Maybe force them to retreat. Give you time to defend yourself. Or get yourself organized. Again, this is a mistake. Holding your infantry in the woods here. Should fall back. Get to the safety of these guns. As I noted earlier, Prussia's continuing to fall back. Here we go. To go down the lines a little bit quicker here. Let's check out Prussia's angle. And I don't know about you guys, but this looks like a Napoleonic battle to me. Beautiful volley. We got some more Prussian cav charging in, hitting the flanks of this French infantry. The one thing I haven't seen a whole lot of, but Prussia's doing right now is once they go in for the cavalry charge, they should push up their infantry. We've got this grenadier unit came in with the support which has made this cavalry charge much more effective. It routed a couple of units. So well done. Prussia is forming a line on this left side. Needs to link up with its allies to help take the pressure off elsewhere on the map. Prussia needs to be careful with this. Oh, excellent charge here. Excellent charge. Getting this gun battery is going to be very helpful for Prussia. He might lose this unit, however, due to the charge. But actually, unfortunately, he wasn't able to take care of the guns. I'm surprised. Now, France has a flanking army on the side. Along with these units here, he should be positioning them into the flank of Prussia. It's going a bayonet charge across the line. I'm not sure this is a good idea. It's kind of a thin bayonet charge. This French unit's routing. I don't think this this line unit's going to be able to hold. For France, I think it's going to rout as well against this Prussian infantry. Which I think it's doing. I can't really tell. There we go. It looks like Prussia on this left is completely folded. Completely folded. All the infantry units that were here are gone. All that's left are these artillery batteries, which should have been repositioned more towards this infantry or this French infantry. And now it looks like the Imperials are just finishing off whatever's left of Prussia on this center and left. And all that the coalition is going to have is going to be this line infantry right here, which was not engaged. It was being held back by some French infantry right here instead of being devoted to the fight. Got some cuirassiers charging in the back of this line. This French line unit. Don't know if they're going to be able to rout them. They should. Need to be careful of this square formation here. Good job getting rid of that French infantry unit. Now, Prussia, you need to be falling back. Need to retreat. Unfortunately, I think Prussia just is not going to have enough to finish the rest of the map here, or to finish, or to at least resist this French advancement. Got some wavering artillery units here. Can have some good angles on this infantry on this side, though. See if we can get a nice volley. Nope. Looks like we got some misses here, unfortunately. Now, Prussia on this right is pushing up. This is not the best use of his infantry. He should have been retreating, using this road to retreat to the house, and then crossing over if he could. It's going to get him there faster and avoid the most amount of Imperial troops as possible. However, it's not a bad distraction technique so that the artillery on this left side can fire into the back of the French lines. At least give them something. But if you're going to do this, it looks like he still has some artillery left. It's a little bit too far forward for my taste. Especially if it's your last artillery piece. And it's It's pretty good. The artillery for Prussia is pretty much going to be the only hope against France. Prussia's got its units spread out too thin. Because Prussia's morale is typically lower, it's better if their infantry are more clumped. France is going in for a bayonet charge. You can see the morale on this line unit's already low. It's routing already. Most likely going to be able to get these other units to rout. You see the morale is extremely low. And this unit's taken off now. These guys are no longer on the guns. I'm not sure what spooked them. France is bringing up some more infantry to bear. Now France can just charge his infantry straight at these guns. No, don't stop, France. Keep going. Keep going. You don't want to stand right in front of the most devastating part of the Prussian army. These guys are routing, except they were still able to get a volley off on France. That's weird. That's not the first time I've seen that either. Prussia's taking its cav here, throwing it into the fight. Not the best charging angle behind the backs of its own men. But I think Prussia sees that its loss is pretty much imminent, and has been. So they're throwing in the last of what they've got. There's still all this artillery on this hill. And there's so much Prussian artillery. So much. It really could have devastated the French line had they just been a bit smarter about their placement, more protective of the guns. This was just so much. I mean, I say this in a few of my battles, but there was so much going on. It was extremely difficult to cover everything. And as France, that initial opening, I just could not help but think about why I split my armies when I played this map. To protect myself from something like that, from the thing that happened to the French army, to happening to myself. Also, by taking this ground on this right side, you deny the enemy this flanking fire position if you have to fall back on the hill. And at very least, you can delay that action and shift reinforcements where they're needed so that this does not happen to your army. Because if Prussia had been a little bit smarter with the placement of its guns, it just would have destroyed the French army. And part of the issue too was like Prussia had excellent gun placements on this side. Had they continued to have excellent gun placements up here and not engage France as hard as they did, France would have a difficult time with the return fire. Because even at the end, throughout the match and at the end, France was down gun emplacements. They were down artillery batteries. They've got some artillery batteries here and one here now, but they cannot be maneuvered. They don't have a good angle on the other side. The only angle that they have is right here. So I think this is a death match today. I didn't see any points on the battlefield in the mini-map, so I'm assuming it's a death match. So I will go ahead and fast forward to the end here so you guys can see the totals. For the Imperials today, we've got Sputler playing as the first Davu Corps with 1,637 kills. Fritos. This replay actually comes courtesy of Fritos today. I plucked from the Discord. He was commanding another Corps of Davu with 1,410 kills. Sword of Heaven had 2,000 kills on the nose. That's pretty cool. I'd like to see that nice 000 there. And then Falcon was playing as the last Corps for Davu with 1,047 kills. For the Prussians today, we have Chainmail with 1,114 kills. Tran of Magus, or Magi, however you want to pronounce it, with 1,628 kills. We've got Alcantara with 1,060 kills, and Sir Pink playing as the last Prussian Corps with 1,470 kills. I'll just go down the statistics real quick. It looks like we've got an infantry general as the highest kill count today with 152 kills. Just a quick scroll down for you guys who are interested in knowing. All right. Good game once again. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.